Hi guys! This is Kelly and welcome to my channel. Today I am doing a video on English for business presentations. And this video in particular is going to be focused on how you can handle your Q&A session in a very professional manner. In my case, it feels like doing the presentation itself is relatively easier because, you get to prepare your script if you want, you get to prepare all the things you want to say. So, it's like pressure is a little less, relatively, of course. But with the Q&A session, it's more of an interaction with the audience. So you never know what kind of questions they'll be asking. And you get really nervous because you may not have all the answers to all the questions. So I know how terrifying this can be. Today, we're going to be really looking at how you can just do better with handling the questions and how you can be more natural and professional in your Q&A session. So without further ado, let's begin. Okay, now we're going to talk about how to handle the Q&A session. So for example, let's say you gave a presentation about transferring some of your offline corporate training courses into an online training course. So for example, let's say there was a person from the audience who raised her hand and asked the question. Okay, so I have a question. How can you make sure that the quality of the online program is not compromised? And in a lot of cases, when we're asked a question like this, it's very natural to just go straight into your answer. So most likely, you'll be going like, okay, so to ensure the training quality, we have prepared plan A, B, and C. This is a very natural course that a lot of people take when they're asked a question. They just give their answers right away. This is great. This is amazing. However, in today's video, I want to introduce another way that you can give an answer to a question. If you give an answer like this can definitely make you seem a little more professional, and it can make you seem like you're a little more relaxed. And on top of that, it can really show the audience that you are connecting with them. So I would highly recommend to go through these steps if you can. Alright, so the first step that you can take is to thank the person who asked the question or who gave you a comment. So you can simply say, oh, thank you so much for your question. Thank you so much for your question. Or you can say, oh, that's a great question. That's a great question. Or if it was more of a comment, then you can say, oh, that is a great point. Oh, that is a great point. So I would highly recommend doing this. This can really show that you are showing your appreciation and acknowledgement for that person. So I think this is really great, and this makes you look so much more professional. So try to remember this first step. Alright, now the second step that you can take is to rephrase or paraphrase the question. Well, for me personally, I thought this was great because it gives me a little bit of more time to think about an answer while I am paraphrasing the question. And, you can save yourself from an embarrassment of giving out a wrong answer. Because sometimes it's very easy to misunderstand the question. So I think it's always great to check with the person. Is this something that you're asking? Am I understanding it correctly? So I think it's always great to rephrase or paraphrase the question one more time. Alright, now step number 3. The third step is to provide an answer. This is a time when you provide an answer to the question. This can go in two different directions. First of all, if you have the answer to the question, you can just go ahead and give an answer, and that's great. However, there are times, and I have experienced this myself as well, there are times when you don't have an answer to their question. And this can happen because, we're only human, we're not robots. So that can definitely definitely happen, and I don't think there's a shame in that. I think that's totally fine, but it's just more of a way of how you will be communicating this to the person who asked the question. If you just go like, oh, sorry, I don't have an answer to your question. Sorry about that. I'm sorry, then that can be a little casual, but I don't think it really fits that situation of a business presentation. So if you don't have an answer, you can simply say, oh, I'm so sorry, but I'm afraid I do not have an answer to your question right now. But I can definitely get back to you on that via email or via phone call. So I'll make sure to get back to you on that. So if you don't have the answer, just be honest. Just instead of giving out some random thoughts or some incorrect information, I think it's always better to be just upfront with them. And I think they'll totally understand as long as you get back to them with an answer. I've seen that a lot of people struggle to do this. Like they feel like they have to have all the answers to all the questions. So I think that's really making them more nervous and intense. But I think it's better to just be more relaxed, and as long as you communicate with them, as long as you are being sincere about their question and you take it seriously, I think that's all that matters. Alright, so to sum up, if I just go back to my previous example of a person who raised her hand and asked a question. So let's do that again using these steps. The person asked a question. And now, instead of giving your answer right away, you thank the person for asking you a question. Oh, thank you so much for your question. And then you move on to step number 2, paraphrasing the question. All right, so I'm guessing your question is coming from the perception that online training programs are generally less effective than offline training programs, and you want to know how we can ensure the training quality. Am I understanding your question correctly? So you go through this step of paraphrasing the question, and you buy some time to think about an answer. And then if the person who asked your question, nods her head, then you can go to your answer and say, yes, we also agree that people tend to lose their concentration with the online training programs. So we have 3 different plans to deal with this issue. So if you go through the step number 1, 2, and then giving out an answer, I think it's just a lot more professional. It's just a lot more communication and interaction with the audience. So I think this is just an amazing way to deal with your questions and answer sessions. And again, do not worry about not having all the answers to all the questions. That's totally fine. Just be honest and make sure you get back to them later on. Alright, so that's all I have prepared for today. If you like this content, please hit the like button. And if you're interested in business English, general English related contents, please also make sure to subscribe to my channel. So, thank you again for watching my video, and I'll see you guys real soon. Bye!